Welcome to the Quigley Dreamcast, the podcast where we have real conversations with entrepreneurs, artists, and everyone in between about chasing big dreams and surviving the mess along the way. I'm your host, Sean Quigley. My whole life, I've been passionate about art and business. I spent my early years as a drummer and a music producer, and today I run the Quigley Dream Company with my wife, Carly. Digital media and storytelling has taken us around the world, collaborating with incredible artists and businesses. Throughout our adventures, I've had conversations that have changed my perspective on life, creativity, and chasing your dreams. This podcast is my way of bringing you into those moments, giving you a front row seat to inspiring stories, honest struggles, and the lessons learned along the way. Welcome to the Quigley Dreamcast. On today's episode, we sit down with Jenna and Ashley, the twin sisters behind Jenna Rae Cakes. Jenna Rae Cakes is a boutique bakery that has 4 locations here in Winnipeg and has become a household name over the last 10 years. But it's so much more than just a bakery. They've perfected the macaron, they've released 2 best-selling cookbooks, they've been featured in Martha Stewart weddings and on multiple TV shows. On a personal note, they are one of my favorite brands. It's instantly recognizable, and through all of their success, they have such a deep understanding of hard work and what it actually takes to grow a business while raising young families at the same time. I've had the pleasure of working with Jenna and Ashley on a couple different projects, and one thing that always shines through is their attention to detail and their passion for Jenna Rae Cakes. This conversation is an inside look at what it means to not only build and grow a business, but sustain it. Here's my conversation with Jenna and Ashley. Ash, Jenna, thank you so much for doing this. This is going to be really fun.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yay! Jenna Rae Cakes, I think, is, in my opinion, one of the best brands to come out of Winnipeg.
Oh, wow. Thank you. That's all her.
And I don't think that's high praise. Like, I believe that. I think a lot of people believe that. And a lot of our audience is like entrepreneurs, dreamers, artists, people trying to do amazing things in their lives. And I think you guys have done amazing things. And so I want to talk about that. Let's start by talking about brand, because look around. This is your home, but yet it feels like Jenna Rae Cakes.
Mm-hmm.
It's
a little less pink, but yeah.
It's a little less pink. I love that. What inspired the brand when you were getting started? Because it feels very authentic, like an authentic expression. Mm-hmm. So like what were those inspirations when you first decided to start Jenna Rae Cakes?
Well, from day one, when I started, I leaned very heavily on Ash for all that kind of stuff. So she's the dreamer, visionary of the brand itself. And whereas I kind of started with the cake designs, and I think that kind of fed into the branding at the beginning, and then Ash just kind of like went with it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm a graphic designer by trade, so it's kind of just been the most fun. I still think it was like a college project that's just lasted 10 plus years. I guess more like 15 years since you started.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's got to kind of evolve and grow. And I haven't had to follow the same kind of rules you do with a client. Like you only have one logo and you always have to use your brand colors no matter what and things like that. So we've kind of just, it's evolved for sure over the years. At the beginning, I think it was very much influenced more by like Parisian bakeries and like a lot more fine art, fine line details, and that was a lot of fun. But then I wanted it to be a bit more bold, and I wanted a secondary logo to kind of weigh things a little bit. And I don't know, it's just been a really fun evolution, and we've always wanted to be approachable, but still a bit more on that. Like we always said, we don't want stripes, we don't want polka dots, we don't want pink frilly aprons. Like we want it to be a bit, I don't know, a bit more elevated than that, but still super
kinda
approachable,
edgy, a little
friendly,
like fun.
Yeah. I don't know. It is. I think it is kind of just like it's been an organic growth because it is reflective of us and our personal style. Like Jen said, we don't really have pink at home. We're not allowed. But yeah, like we've always cared, like our whole lives, we've always cared very much about like fashion and just how things looked, and very particular in that kind of way. So I think that
Very
extends.
particular.
She's extremely particular. I am too, but not nearly as much as
We
her.
have these tattoos. They say Pinko and Bluo.
Yeah.
They were our parents' nicknames for us because I was Princess Ashley. I was very particular. I always did it my own way. I would cry if my tights weren't on properly across my toes. And I always made Jenna wear blue.
Yeah,
Because
so
we'd
our
always
parents
get
would buy us
matching sets.
things. And then in pink or blue, and like I didn't care, so I would always get the blue, and Ash would get the pink.
Yeah. So as a kid, that'd be super annoying. And as an adult, I know that in myself. So I'm always very cognizant of that. But it has really helped our business.
Yes, for sure. I appreciate it.
What's it like working together as sisters?
It's great. Like you hear so much, especially at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, don't go into business with family. Are you sure you want to do this? Like the amount of warnings we had was like
so many. We're like, you don't
insane.
understand. We're really chill people. We know each other better than anyone else in the world.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine life without her. We tell each other everything. And we also don't have to speak that much because we just know what's
We just
going on
know,
with each
like
other.
we just know what each other thinks about things, so we don't have to talk about lots. We do talk about lots, but like we just know how the other person would handle something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been great. I can't imagine doing it. I couldn't do it with anyone else.
No.
So,
Definitely not.
definitely not.
You guys are twins, right?
Yes.
Identical. We just found out last year.
You just found out last year?
We finally took the DNA test because we never knew. I guess when we were birthed, it was pretty traumatic and quick, so they weren't able to see like the sac or whatever it is. So we just always kind of assumed we were, but not for sure.
I think just about anyone who looked at a picture of you assumed.
That's what everyone said. Like, duh. I'm like, well, I'm gonna know for sure.
No, we'd either get you look nothing alike.
Sure.
You barely look like sisters, or you're identical. So
Right.
we were always like, I don't know. You grow up your whole life hearing that at least once a day in some
Right.
form or another. So
Yeah.
you really get confused.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's a synergy there? Like you were saying earlier about how you just kind of know what the other person is thinking or is going to do. Like, do you think that is helpful in your business?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
I think we know what our strengths and weaknesses are, and we really balance that out in each other. And we're also very laid back in the way that, I don't know, we can't offend each other. We got all of our fighting out in junior high.
Yeah.
So
That was a rough couple of years in junior high.
fighting over a lot of clothes.
Yeah, I think we wanted to like be our own people at that age because we were always the twins and everything was together. We always looked the same and dressed the same and everything. So we tried to like find our own path, but we're like, whatever.
ended
We're
up
the
back
same
together
person.
anyway.
Yeah, we're like, we buy the same clothes. We are the same person. Like we just accepted it, and then yeah,
If you can't beat them, join them.
exactly.
I love how you said that together too. That was perfect.
We do that a lot.
That's so great. You just opened a new location at the Winnipeg airport. Let's talk about that. How's that been?
It's been good. It's been really, I don't know, this location felt a little different. To be at an airport just feels like, I don't know, kind of like
Like a big deal.
adulthood almost.
Yeah.
Like, wow, we've been in this for now 10 years. Also the 10-year milestone.
That was a big one
That
for
hits
us.
differently. I think before that, there was a lot of imposter syndrome or feeling like little girls playing dress up almost, or like
Yeah.
we didn't know what we were doing.
Faking it till we made it kind of thing.
And then at 10 years, I'm like, oh, wait, I guess we kind of have it not figured out. I'll never say we have it figured out. Every day is a battle. But we've been doing it long enough that I feel like we are professionals in this industry in what we do. And when we first started, we had no clue.
Zero clue.
We were told all the time that we had no clue and we had no business starting a bakery.
Which we truly didn't.
Yeah, to be fair, they were right. So it feels really nice to have that 10-year milestone under our belt. It's probably the hardest it's ever been in terms of running a business, but it is nice to have that decade of experience and all of those lessons learned to
Right.
kind of help us with future issues.
Right.
This podcast was created by the Quigley Dream Company. At the Quigley Dream Company, we specialize in bringing your vision to life through powerful storytelling and stunning video production. We're your one-stop shop to market your business. Whether you're looking to tell your brand story, capture unforgettable moments, or enhance your digital presence, we're here to help make that happen. So if you've got a dream, visit thequigley.dreamcompany.com to get started today.
Let's talk about that imposter syndrome for a second. I think I mean, I've never viewed you guys that way. I think you're badass.
Thank you.
And so it's very interesting to hear that. And I think a lot of people out there, especially like female entrepreneurs, I think could resonate with that feeling. What would you say to someone in that position now? Like what would a piece of advice be?
No one knows what they're doing.
No, the older I get, the more I'm
knows.
like, does anyone know what they're doing? I don't think so.
Yeah. And the older you get, the more you realize like society is the way it is because that's just what we've all agreed upon. And the rules are the way that they are because that's just what has been done before. And I don't know, I think as long as you have a good moral compass and ethics and good family or a support system around you, I don't know, just trust your gut and like, what's the worst that's going to happen?
Yeah, like you can take all the schooling in the world that you want. And not that I did for this specific endeavor, but like until you're doing it in real life, like you learn so much as you go with real life situations and how to deal with things. And I think it's easy to feel like an imposter because you just didn't expect half the things that are happening, right? Like when we first opened, I was like, I'm just going to be making cakes and I'll tend to the 2 people that come in a day and whatever. And it was way different than that. And then I was like, oh, I guess I have to do my taxes. I guess I have to like incorporate like all these things. I had no idea what I was doing.
Right.
And yeah, you just kind of roll with it. But I think it's easy to just feel like you're not doing enough or you have no clue what you're doing, even if you are doing well. And yeah, it's imposter syndrome. It's still there sometimes, but it's definitely gone down a lot.
I don't think it ever goes away, and I think it's a really good thing to have to keep you kind of focused and motivated and humble. I think if you had no imposter syndrome or whatever that kind of feeling is, second guessing yourself, I don't know, maybe you're not paying attention enough because there's so many areas that you can kind of falter in. And there are going to be mistakes you make every single day, and you have to be willing to always like, okay, what would I do next time? Or how will we avoid this in the future? Or really look at yourself and be like, how did I contribute to this? I think that is the biggest thing as business owners. No matter what happens, no matter what issues arise, no matter if it was completely unrelated to a decision you made, you still created that environment where that happened. So you need to kind of take full ownership over everything that happens around you all the time. And I think that always kind of puts you in a good place.
It's also very draining.
Yeah, it's stressful. Yes.
I think I've seen that attitude and that mindset in a lot of very successful people because it's almost like you can do something incredible, but the person doing it, they only see the things they could have done better.
Yeah.
And typically those people who are self-assessing at that level are the ones that I've seen like really win because they are self-assessing. Like, is it hard? I think it's hard for some people to ask for help. Has it ever been hard for you to ask for help, or is that like an easy thing?
It's very hard for me in general to ask for help, I think, as just a human being. I'm very like competitive and I want to do everything myself and I can figure it out. Yeah. And business-wise, like I definitely have had some friends that I've lent on. We were always asked about if we have a mentor or anything. We've never had that. It would be nice. But yeah, we lean on each other a lot.
Yeah, I would say we lean on each other a ton. And my husband's also part of the business. So the 3 of us really, I don't know, we're constantly talking and like asking each other for advice. I don't know. I think because we have that support system, we've never looked outside of it in terms of needing to like find that support.
Yeah. It is having a nice group of like friends who are also entrepreneurs in the city. We have our little groups that we can hang out with and like mostly vent about, because every issue that happens is like the same across the board, no matter what business you're in, right? Totally. So it's nice to have those outlets and hear that other people are going through what you're going through and you don't feel so alone. But
yeah, and I think that's a shout out to Winnipeg. I get kind of pissed when I see so many people like hate on Winnipeg so much. And I get it. Our winters suck and like we have a long way to go in terms of roads and city structures and like transportation. And we love to travel and we've been in a lot of amazing places. And yeah, if you could choose anywhere in the world to live and all your family could be uprooted, you might choose Hawaii or somewhere better. But I think the city, and it has been so creative, especially back when we started in 2000, when you started doing cakes in 2009, 2010. I remember the first like cool shops that opened were Parlor and Oak and Lily. Those were like the first 2 like, wow, like Winnipeg you can support this. Like, this could be something. I always thought that I would have to move as soon as I was done college to do any sort of creative job.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Winnipeg fostered a community that, like, we're able to live our creative dreams every day and work here, be surrounded by family and friends, and be able to travel. And there are so many other businesses like us in this city in terms of, like, creative. I don't know. I just love the artistic community here.
Doesn't get enough praise, I think.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. And like for our job, we get to travel all the time, but I love coming back to Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Like people always ask if I would move away, and I don't think I ever would.
No.
There's so much here, and the people here are so incredible, and like the business community is incredible, like you said. The art community is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, we have had so many incredible artists and businesses come from Winnipeg. It's insane.
Yeah.
People here don't brag a lot, though.
No, we're very humble.
Yeah. We're humble.
Yeah, and I
Humble
think
Canadians.
Yeah, you hear it's almost like a secret, not a secret, but it's like Winnipeggers know,
Yeah.
and it's almost like this badge we wear. And I think how we can like endure the cold too is also part of that.
Yeah.
But like this other sense, like we know how good Winnipeg is, and it's hard to explain it to people because they just won't get it. But you also want to say come visit, but don't visit in the winter. You won't see what we mean.
Also, though, I do feel like the winters, like, it builds a grit in people.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Like,
you can
there's
get
an
through hard
endurance.
things. I think cold climates build kinder people.
Whoa.
I don't know, you're willing to help each other out a bit more. You know, like the struggle it took just to get to work. So you had to scrape off your car and you
Yeah.
had to start it early.
Shovel your
Like everything
driveway.
just takes a little bit more work. I don't know. And I think we have a bit more grace with each other. I don't know. That's my theory.
I like it.
I think it's true. And I think also, too, like, people get really creative when they can't be outside.
True.
Yes.
Like, you're inside, you think of things to do, you think of new ideas. Especially, I mean, I come from music, and some of my favorite bands, I hear them say that over and over again. It's like, oh, yeah, well, it was minus 40, and we
What else is there
we
to
hung
do?
out
Yeah.
inside, and we just wrote songs. And
Yeah, that's so true.
that's kind of where a lot of that stuff comes from. Let's talk about that creativity piece in... So you said something interesting before we started recording. We were talking about cameras. Let's talk about your role in the business as a photographer.
As a photographer. Yes.
You said, I don't know what I'm doing. Anybody that looks at your images would say the complete opposite. You
Okay,
have-
imposter syndrome definitely comes into play for photography for me.
Okay.
Like, absolutely.
Right. You have 2 cookbooks. They're like best-selling books. And you don't know what you're doing. I love it. Let's talk about your vision for photography and kind of that process.
Okay, so COVID actually forced me to buy a camera because we worked with our good friend Brittany Mahood, who's an amazing photographer, for any like non-Instagram shoots we had to do, anything that had to go on the website or be like larger, better quality images, because 7+ years ago, iPhones just didn't cut it for certain things. Now
Totally.
I feel like you can do a lot. But I wasn't able to hire her for a second book shoot. So I'm like, I really just have to buy a camera and figure it out. And I was so intimidated by it. I actually went to, I think it was Henry's.
Yeah, did you do a course or something?
No.
Oh.
I went, I tried to for my
Yeah.
studio setup. That
Yeah.
was a miserable failure. I'm still trying to sell the pieces on Marketplace if anyone's interested.
Honestly, I'll probably buy a lot of stuff. Tell me what you have, I'll probably buy it.
Okay, I'll show you. And so I went to Henry's. I kind of explained what I was looking for with the help of Britt to kind of tell me what I needed. And then I got the camera. I brought it back. I did some test photos. And I remember emailing the guy who helped me and was like, I think I got the wrong camera, like the wrong lens or something. Because like it's not in focus. And he was like, you just have to like shift this to this number. I'm like, oh, okay. So I was asking about like a return policy. It was so embarrassing. And so I don't know. I just kind of played around with it. I think I'm really good at what I need to do, and I can't go out of that box. Like I can take food photography because it doesn't move. I only rely on natural lighting because I couldn't figure out studio photography and like artificial lighting, although I think that'd be very helpful because then you're not dealing with the time constraints of daylight.
Especially in the wintertime.
Especially in the winter. I'm really skilled at Photoshop. I went through college learning a lot about it. So I'm good at photo manipulation and correcting colors and all.
Watching her work on our computer is like magic. Like I just don't understand. I can barely send an email.
But the stress I feel when I have to take a photo with like chocolate dripping is so real because I don't know how to capture motion in the proper way. Sometimes it'll work and sometimes it won't, and I just can't figure out why. I mean, I could spend a couple of days and really dig in and like memorize what an f-stop actually does, but I don't know. I just have it kind of set the way
it works for you.
Yeah, it works.
You got enough going on.
It works very, very well for you.
And with the books too, she won't like say this, but she literally designs it from cover to cover. Like I think our publishers love her because she actually plans all the photos, plans everything about them, does the shoots, styles everything, and then puts it in the book format. I don't know the technical terms with these layout. Puts it in the layout, does all the text, like just everything. Cover to cover is all her. Like there's no additional someone else in there. Unless publishers need to change something, but like it's crazy. Like it's just she's crazy.
Yeah. Well, when I was in school, or even before that, when I first got into graphic design, which was I guess in grade 10. I always wanted to design a book, but for me, it was always going to be designing a book, not doing a book from start to finish. So it just feels like a dream project to work on. They're like cookbooks are a massive undertaking, and they're probably not the best financial decision for us to be focusing on so much.
No, they're not very lucrative.
They're not very lucrative at all. Yeah, I feel like that system maybe needs to change, but they're a great branding vehicle and marketing vehicle, and they really get your name out there and solidify you as leaders in whatever industry you're writing about. So
yeah, and being published authors kind of, gets that imposter syndrome like we were talking about, kind of dies it down a little bit too.
Yeah.
Right. Like even if the cookbook itself isn't necessarily the most profitable revenue stream in the business, it still legitimizes the business in such a global way.
Yeah,
I guess.
It's a good investment.
Totally.
Totally.
Because you guys have been recognized on like a global scale, which is so cool.
Yes.
So cool. I had a thought while I was driving over here about the airport location and how it reminds me of like the Cake Boss vending machines.
Oh, yeah.
And then Carly said that there's like a relationship there, that like one of you loved Cake Boss or something.
Yes, that was me.
Can we talk about the Cake Boss for a second? Because I used to watch that. It was on A&E.
Oh, yeah. Everyone watched that.
I loved the Cake Boss.
I think everyone watched that.
Yeah.
Leave a comment if you watched Cake Boss.
Who didn't watch Buddy? He's so entertaining. So I watching Cake Boss, loved it. And then, so he's the reason I actually like started making cakes, because I was watching that show once and I was like, that looks like fun. Like, I want to try that. Because I've made cakes before, like one or two in high school, even like boxed cake with like a tub of icing and whatever. So I'm like, I'm going to try fondant. It looks fun. So, or however he says it, I can't replicate his accent. But
it's always something different. It's always, was it fondant?
Fondant. Yeah. Yeah, he says it funny, but so I went out and bought everything I thought I needed to make my first fondant cake, and like was watching his shows and like, okay, he's doing this and this and this, okay, and then I made my first cake and it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad.
No, we were all so impressed.
Yeah,
like in 2009. We were very impressed.
Yeah. And I like fell in love with it, like was obsessed from day one. So I'd watch those shows like religiously. Like that was how I learned, was watching these shows. Like I still don't really know how to use YouTube. Never went to school for this. I've taken a couple in-person courses with Maggie Austin, who's my cake idol for sugar flowers. But other than that, I'm completely self-taught.
Wow.
So yeah, a huge shout out to him because he sparked that in me. And I was obsessed from day one and never looked back.
And we almost got to meet him.
Yeah. Yeah.
We missed our chance.
Yeah, maybe this year he'll be there.
Hope so.
Yeah, I got to ask him a question and that was fun.
I'm sensing a theme of like real, like gritty entrepreneurship from both of you, that like you just figure it out. You don't know. When you get started, I mean, I remember when I started shooting videos, I didn't know what I was doing either. I just figured it out. I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew that I loved it.
Yes.
Yeah. That will take you a long
I'm still
way.
learning new things all the time. Like, it's so much fun to learn a new technique and like see it work out. And it's such a good feeling. I don't know. It's the best.
What are you learning now that you're excited about?
I like learning about like new sugar flour techniques, or even like my cake team will teach me things about something we do a million times and a way that does it like in half the time. Like, how did I not think of that in 15 years? So I'm constantly learning from either whether it's our bakers or workers, or just getting inspired by things and trying some new things out. Like it's so much fun to just like play around and see what I can come up with.
Do you still make stuff just for fun, or?
Yeah, I do a lot of sugar flour. Well, you end up using them pretty much for wedding cakes and stuff, but I love making sugar flours. Like you said, when it's cold, you have nothing better to do. Like I will make sugar flours at home. Like that's my relaxing kind of therapy.
Forgive my ignorance.
Yeah.
I am the layman. What is a sugar flour?
Well, I have them over at my house. There's some over there. There's lots up there. It's just a flour made of sugar, and they look very real. So that's the goal anyways. And they just take so much time. You're making every little piece by hand. And I'll do like a bouquet or a wedding cake, and the flowers can take me months sometimes to make. But
So is this something that goes on a cake?
Yes.
Or is it something that can be an arrangement that's also edible?
it's both. So if I'm doing a big wedding cake, I give my clients the option for me to put it into a bouquet after that they can save. And it can be like
cool.
memento of their wedding cake.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love that. I never would have guessed that the thing you're learning right now is sugar flowers.
I'm always learning about sugar
There's
flowers.
so many different varieties.
That's so great. Ash, what about you? What are you excited about right now in the Jenna Rae Cakes world?
I'm trying to enjoy. I'm really excited to get back to working on the third book. That is this year's project, and I feel like time is slipping away before the deadline, so we really have to get that going. So I'm trying to enjoy that process because this is our last book that we have a contract for anyway.
Okay.
And it's truly like one of the projects I look forward to the most and I love the most. I love every part of it, but it is a ton of work. So I'm kind of in this phase where I feel so pulled in so many different directions. Managing social media is like a beast of its own.
Yeah.
The algorithm's always changing. Then wants and needs are always changing. Sometimes I feel like we're just content creators, and that's not where our passion lies at all. So that can be
And we don't really
frustrating.
have the time to just be content creators.
I know.
It takes a lot of time to create content.
It does. So I feel
Yeah.
like that is a big part of my day, and that I've been getting kind of down on that because on one hand, I love Instagram. It's built us to where we are. Mm-hmm. We can't really figure out TikTok.
I'm just giving up on TikTok, I think.
we can't figure that piece of the puzzle out really. So it's easy to kind of get discouraged from that side of things. Because at the end of the day, I just want to create beautiful things, be part of people's special moments. I think that's really rewarding. Create beautiful photos and videos and products. And I feel like you can't just do that anymore. You have to film while you're doing it, and like behind the scenes, and like how is this going to post, and like, yeah, what's the hook I can use for this reel to make people watch it? Like it just feels more contrived, and I don't like that part of it, but it is just the world we live in now. And we do care about getting our business out there and growing it. So I don't know. I'm trying to be more positive about it and be like, I'm lucky I get to make a reel today. But I'd much rather just be spending my time styling photos and, I don't know, focusing on the fun part of the business for me. But
Totally. I think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like when you guys started, that was kind of like the Instagram heyday.
It's the boom.
It was
yeah,
like
it's
you
great.
perfectly aligned with, we're starting an aesthetically pleasing bakery
yeah.
at the moment that Instagram is like taking off. It's like the perfect storm. Like you couldn't have
really was.
planned
It
that.
really was.
find
Yeah.
it.
We got
And like
very
there was
lucky.
nothing out there at the time because I was like
Right.
trying to find inspiration and stuff, and there was nothing like what we were doing out there at all at the beginning.
No.
And so it was really, it was an exciting time.
Yeah, I feel like back then you could actually do new things, and not to say that there aren't people doing new things. People are so creative, but there's just so much out there now, which is great in so many ways. But it did feel kind of special and like lightning in a bottle, and like coming up with Lucky Charms macarons. No one had ever seen it before, so
Whoa.
it's
Yeah.
just like, whoa, mind blowing.
Or like the hand photos holding a tree with like nice nails, like that wasn't done before. like all these things.
It was just like to think back on it. So funny to think about. But yeah, at the time it was just all kind of new territory. It was fun and
Yeah.
exciting.
The wild west of Instagram, as
Yeah.
we call it.
Yeah.
Totally. It's like the Wild West, and it was organic, and it obviously propelled you guys to where you are now.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm going to butcher this phrase, but people they sometimes say like what got you here is not what's going to get you there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's kind of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. Like, I can't just post a single pretty image anymore like we used to be able to do.
And get like 10,000 followers
Yeah.
Right.
in a day or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm trying to look at it like that's the exciting part. You're always being pushed and you're always challenged. Well, sometimes like I just don't want to be challenged.
Yeah, like owning a business
every day.
is a challenge every day as it is. Never mind
Right.
the
I
additional
know.
challenges of that. Where you like it helps your business and it does make you money, but you don't see that in a way that you do when you sell out one day or at the bakery or whatever it is. So it's harder to have that spend all that time on things or hire someone to do those things when you're not seeing the money come in from it.
Sure.
And it's
Like, as a
hard
business
because
way. Yeah.
people, at least where we are in time right now, people want to see your face talking to a camera. That's what people want to see.
Yeah.
So that's just a lot of time and dedication. And sometimes you don't have the time to dedicate to that. So it's tricky. But I mean, we're learning and growing and being challenged. So
Yeah.
Constantly.
For the listeners that maybe don't understand the scope of the business, because you're talking a lot about your time and how valuable your time is, let's paint the picture for people. You have a corporate head office. You have a bakery on Abenochi Mikana-ish, right? Am I right?
A location, yep.
And then you have a location on Academy. You have a location at the Forks. And you have a location at the airport.
yes.
This is by no means small potatoes. This is a very large operation.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is large.
Is
a lot of
it
moving
too
pieces.
large? I don't know.
I don't know. I think we have like a good. I don't think we'd open up another location unless we shut down another one. Like I think we're kind of at our max. I know Regent. I'd love to open up in Regent area because there's just every time I drive out there, which isn't very often, is like there's so many people out here.
Yeah.
And it's so far away. So I feel like that could be a good spot. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it just, the larger you grow, the more overhead you have, the more you have to pay attention to every single penny. And it doesn't feel as creatively free. But I think that's also the economy right now.
It's the economy because 5 years ago we wanted to expand.
5 years ago, we could launch a product and not even crazy flavors and not even price it out. And
it was fine. And now we need to know exactly how much everything costs to make because ingredients are just
we just found out our
insane.
brownie cookie sandwiches are we're basically paying people
to eat them. So that's fun.
So
Good to know.
Yeah, good to know.
So the economy is a big piece of like what's taking up your time right now is thinking about that. Like the
huge,
cost of
huge,
eggs, the cost of butter.
Yes. Well, I mean, we're in a time now where cost of labor has skyrocketed. Cost of ingredients have skyrocketed and continues to rise. That includes everything else around us with inflation, like packaging and our rent at all of our locations. Combined with all of that, people's spending power is going down. And at the end of the day, we don't sell something that has a huge profit margin. We sell cookies and baked goods, which people will only pay so much for. So brownie cookie sandwiches, we probably should be charging like $8.75 per sandwich, but there's no way that makes sense. So I hope we don't. I'm just worried for the bakery industry in general. Like, I really hope that eventually cookies just can't exist because we can't pay people to make them in a sustainable way.
Right.
That's my biggest fear is that
Just everything gets outpriced. Like you just can't do it anymore.
it's not slowing down, and it's just it's worrying to see. But I know that I'm hopeful that the future will be a lot more positive and things will kind of settle down.
I think throughout history things always kind of ebb and flow. So I'm just hoping we're at a peak right now.
Yeah.
And it's gonna go back down. Hopefully. But we're trying to we're finding ways to cut costs and to figure out we need to cut items or find items that are more affordable to make and
but it's hard when you're not willing to we're not willing to sacrifice on our quality ingredients.
Yeah.
And packaging, although I think there's a misconception we order in such huge quantities and I design and source everything. So it's a lot cheaper than if we were just to get brown paper bags.
Your brand is such a high quality brand. So what are a few things that you're not willing to sacrifice?
I don't think we have a brand unless we have baked goods that taste great and are consistent. And that is always something we're very focused on. Yeah, because you want them to look great, but they also have to taste great. That's a huge part of it, obviously. Yeah, and I think there's a lot of Instagram bakeries now that they create something beautiful, but like I'm always like, how would you transport that? Like that is a big deal. So focusing on those things is always going to be a top priority. Our packaging and our people. Our people are so important. So those are just all very expensive things. And I don't know, I'm not interested in building a business that you have to sacrifice on those things. Right. That's not why we started. So, yeah.
I think it's interesting. It kind of ties back to what you were saying earlier about like doing business with a moral compass. What does that mean to you?
Yeah. Yeah, like we have all these big dreams. Well, we always wanted to say like we want our people to stay with us forever and we want to pay them what they deserve to make and everything. But now we're like, we can't afford to do that anymore in this economy. So now we're trying to find ways to we're trying new automation. We got 2 big new machines that we're excited about. Hopefully that helps with production and speeding things up a little bit. But like, yeah, it's hard. But we definitely know what feels right to us and we never do something that doesn't feel right. Like
no, and I think we're also surrounded by a team of people who also have very high morals and judgment calls that we rely on a lot to, I don't know, talk through these things about. And I think there's always ways that we can kind of shift things that are still in line with our goals and our mission.
How involved are your families with your business?
Our dad's very involved.
Yeah.
We're very lucky we get to work with him every day. He, what's his official title? Office manager. Office and supply manager.
Yeah, that's what it is.
AKA dad.
Yeah.
Other duties as assigned.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he literally does everything. Like, yeah. He's like up in the ceiling doing something and like.
Yeah. Paying all the bills.
That's perfect.
Yeah. And my husband, obviously, the 3 of us. So the 4 of us are heavily involved.
Right.
And then our other family members we're all really close with, but they're not involved in the day-to-day. Our younger sister started with us, which is so
that was fun.
Yeah. It was always temporary. She was always just taking a sabbatical from school.
Yes, we got a good year out of her. It was really fun.
It was really fun. It was a wild time.
Great memories.
Do you have any new products or things that you're excited about?
Oh gosh, we're always dreaming up new things.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I've always been like a dreamer. I even have that tattoo, dreamer. It's like one of my first tattoos, so original. But I think we have these big ideas and then lots of people like pull us back down to earth and be like, well, that's not really feasible. Or they try to make it work and it just doesn't kind of thing. But I think it's important to always be innovating and once you see something out there, it's replicated 1,000 times by everybody else. So you kind of want to be ahead of that in some ways. So we're always kind of thinking up new things or what's the next step. But then it's also, we've been forced to focus on just day-to-day production now because that's really important to figure that out and making sure that it's profitable and
Yeah. I think the goal for this year is just to really firm up like the behind the scenes and the production and the day-to-day that, I don't know, that make Jenna Rae Cakes. It's not the glamorous side of it, but it's like very important. And it's not something we've ignored, but
we haven't been forced to deal with it yet.
Yes. So now we're focusing on that. It feels really good to us to get that done, but it's like outwardly you wouldn't know that's kind of what's going on behind the scenes. And book number 3, that's going to be the big focus for this year. Which, I mean, I feel like it's already December, so I'm stressed. There's so much to do.
We're just planning holidays, so maybe that's how you feel.
I have to ask, is the new book going to have seasonal things? Am I allowed to ask that?
Yeah.
Because I feel like
we can say.
Yeah.
It's Jenna Rae Cakes celebrates. So it'll be all of our seasonal goods that we've become known for in our shops and then also
That's
a bunch of different.
It's going to be really, I'm excited about this. I'm excited about all of them, but I think this will be the best one yet.
because I feel like that, not that there was a hole, but with book 1 and book 2, the missing thing is like, give me the Christmas cookie.
Yes, exactly. We were saving
lots
those.
of Christmas.
You were saving it, and this is the moment. So book 3 is the moment where everyone gets the Christmas cookies.
Yes.
That's incredible. I want to circle back a little bit to working on the business not just in the business. There's a lot of people that listen that are entrepreneurs or watch or whatever. And let's talk about that. It's like when you get a new car, it's like this beautiful new car. And then eventually you're like, oh man, we need to like do some work on this thing. We gotta get a mechanic in here and see what we're doing.
Yeah.
How has that experience been for you guys? Because it feels like you're in the trenches of that right now. Like that's where your focus is at.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Our wheels are falling off. Just kidding. It's not that bad.
Does it feel like that though? It's okay if it does.
Some days it does, for
Some
sure.
days.
It's just one thing after the other sometimes. Like even lately I've just been, can we just have like a week where there's not like a fire that we like need to immediately put out. But at the beginning we were so heads down just making product to last till the next day. We didn't have time to even think about what was
Like we
next
got sour
week, never
cream
mind.
from 7-Eleven. They like mark things up like 70%.
Well, yeah, because I was like, oh, we're out, and then to run and get it and then come back. So it was pretty chaotic in the first couple of years. We weren't planning ahead at all.
Right.
Yeah, I think this is where kind of our non-business education really shines in terms of we didn't really price things out like ingredient wise. Not to say like our head baker is in charge of a lot of ordering and stuff, and she's always been organized with that. But coming together as a whole and looking at the bigger picture and all of those processes.
Yeah, because it's
we're
not
putting
just
in place now.
ingredients; it's locations and staffing and like light
Deliveries.
bulbs and everything that we're paying for is all kind of has to be assessed, right? So yeah, well, you get a lot of comments like, "Oh, that much for whatever. I'll just make it at home." It's like, okay, I'll go buy the ingredients and get the pans and go make it at
Cost
home.
3 times as much.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what's been good about the book too, is people are realizing like, oh shit, like I'll just go buy 24 macarons instead of paying $200 and half of my life to make them.
No, exactly. And then learning how to do this thing that is so unbelievably hard to do.
It gives people perspective, which is nice.
Is it true that you have to change the recipe based on the temperature?
Oh yeah.
On the season, yeah.
Every time the seasons change, we're like, oh.
Or if you have to use a new oven or a new, we built like we
Or a new brand of almond
It
flour.
was so stressful. Last year we went to Australia to teach some classes, which was an amazing trip.
Yeah, it was.
And they really wanted us to teach macarons, and I was hesitant because I'm like, it's probably really humid in Australia, and it's like on the different side of the globe. Like, who knows how these are going to turn out? Luckily, they did. It was
the cakes that didn't turn out.
Yeah, it was the cakes. The butter was different.
The butter was different. The measurements were way off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big learning thing for us too. But yeah, we brought our almond flour. We brought everything home. We're like, okay, if we're going to do this, we're going to have our own ingredients because everything affects it. That's the trickiest recipe.
Where my brain went in there was like, while you were talking, I was like, okay, so you're professionals at like optimization and like the shift of those things, right? Like making a macaron, you're thinking all the different variables.
Yeah.
All those skills are so valuable in working on a business.
Yeah.
Those micro adjustments.
Those are huge. Yeah, definitely.
I think it's just being a perfectionist, and that can manifest in bad ways, but also in great ways, I think. Like we try and enjoy success when it comes along, like with the book launches, and it's so easy to just kind of plow through and like just another day, because it kind of feels like that. You think these big moments are going to feel like we made it, or like this feels great. It never does. It feels like another day. So you do have to kind of really soak things in when they happen and just cheers it or talk about it or just reflect on it.
Go for a nice dinner and celebrate.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And I think our staff feels that way too. Like we work so hard to hit a milestone, and then it's on to the next thing and on to the next thing. And I think we have to spend a bit more time celebrating those things because they are big accomplishments for everyone. But I think that also does really help refine things like processes and ingredients. And we read every review we get, and we like really like dig down and figure out, okay, this person had dry cupcakes. What happened? Was it the batch? Like, was it the day? Did they put them in the fridge? Like, did they eat them 2 days later? We like really drill down on everything, which could be nitpicky and probably pretty annoying. But I mean, we really want to get it right for people.
Right.
Yeah.
Seems like you care a lot.
We do care a lot. We care sometimes too much, I think.
You have to stop and smell the sugar flowers.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. They do smell delicious.
I think we're getting better with that, especially with kids. Kids force you to slow down and like be present in the moment. You get a daily reminder of how quick time goes by just by like looking back at old baby photos. So I think it's a really great perspective shift for us in the last couple of years, especially as they get older. So when we're home, we are home and present. And I think that's always really important, but we do give her at work.
There's definitely days too, like so my husband is here in the summers mostly. He plays hockey. So when he's here in the summers, I'm working a lot doing wedding cakes. Like lots of days I'm there till 8, 9 p.m. every day. And I fear that if he was here all the time, I'd be doing that a lot more. So, which is good and bad, I guess. But it's really important to sometimes, like as business owners, obviously you take your job home with you every night. You're constantly thinking about it, especially Ash and Trev together. They're always talking about it. Yeah. Sometimes they'll FaceTime me and we'll talk about it all together. So you never really are away from it, but it definitely helped. The kids definitely help because without that, we'd be there 20%.
We'd be workaholics for sure.
How do you balance being, I mean, obviously like your founders, your executives, your moms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you balance that?
Good at multitasking.
Yeah. I think we truly love what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So it doesn't really feel like a balance. Like I'll put it this way. You can tell when your balance is off.
Yeah.
When you're at home and you can't calm down, you can't be present, you can't chill out. Yeah. And that's usually because of stressful situations happening or something's out of alignment in terms of staffing or just like what you're doing day to day or
something's wrong
shift.
and it's just not sitting well with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've gotten good at kind of trusting our guts on that and kind of fixing that. But I'd say for the most part, I don't know. I think we got really lucky with the family we were born into.
We've always been hard workers too, which helps.
We married well. Our home lives are great. We feel supported and loved all the time. And I don't know, we just feel very lucky to be able to do what we do. And I think, I don't know, it's not just work and life. It's like all one.
Yeah.
But you do have to set boundaries. Like I could work every evening and Trev's like, I can't do that. Like we have to stop talking about work. We have to just like chill. I'm like, okay. Right. So like you do have to kind of give and take. But
when Trev goes out for the night, Ash is just on her computer all night.
Because that's like I don't know. I love it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm the same way. I'm just going in my brain all the time and Cars off camera laughing at me because she's like, that's you to a T. Oh man, I feel like I could ask you guys a billion questions. Let's circle back to branding because I think the brand is just so insane. You said a few things earlier that caught my attention. You said with like big corporate businesses, sometimes the rules are very strict. Mm-hmm. And you don't put those limitations on yourself.
No.
But yet everything feels cohesive. How do you do that? How do you not? Because everyone says like, oh, in art, there's no rules. Mm-hmm. But also, you have to put constraints on it to be creative. I think some of the most creative things happen with constraints. You only have this at your disposal. What's the thinking there? What's the strategy there for someone? Let's say someone out there is starting a small business and they're like, I want to establish a brand. If you were to do it all over, here's my question.
Okay.
I'll stop rambling. If you were to do it all over again, where would you start?
Oh, that's a stressful question. I would not want to do this all over again.
I'd be like in the kitchen, like, Ash, get in here, I need your help. And she's taking photos, like, this is important.
If you were to establish a brand, where would you start?
Honestly, well, we're kind of doing this right now with our Dazzle Dust, our line of edible glitter. It's kind of something that we launched and it's grown organically, but we haven't really done anything with it. Mm-hmm.
It's a great product.
It's such a great product.
Good. Yeah.
So I want to focus back on that. And honestly, I'm starting with the Instagram page. So I took a screenshot of Instagram and I'm just mocking it up. Like, what is my dream feed for this? Like, what does the little icon look like? How do we summarize the business in like 3 lines? What are the highlights? And what kind of style are we going for? And mix of like infographics and like real life content and then product shots. Like, how do we want it to feel? So I think that's a great place to start because it kind of summarizes your business for someone seeing it for the first time in a real life way in 2025.
If I see something on TV that I like or somewhere in the wild that I like, I immediately look up their Instagram, right? To see like who they are, if it's what I'm kind of envisioning, like if it's something I want to pursue. So I think that's a great Yeah.
of advice.
Yeah. And honestly, that's been like this last week that I've been working on it. And that's been kind of a really fun exercise. And I was thinking, I'm like, I wonder what I would do for like Jenna Rae Cakes. Like, what would I change if I was doing this exercise now?
TBD.
Yeah. No, but I think just being a graphic, like so many people ask, like, should I go into business? Like if I want to start a business like yours. And I don't know, graphic design really set me up well for, like, I did not know what entrepreneurship was. I had no desire to own my own business. I thought I would work in Minneapolis for like a magazine or like work for a cool brand and like help.
I was always
develop
worried
it.
she'd move away.
Yeah.
And I lose her.
So I had no aspirations to be a business owner or an entrepreneur, but I'm so glad I ended up here. Like I remember one piece of advice from a college professor was like, you can't just design what you want to design every day. Like you have to get used to doing other styles and doing more like minimalist things, and like not everything's going to be pretty. And I was like, well,
I'll show you.
Yeah.
yeah. So I found a way to do that, but I don't know. I think it's just being consistent with it and not just posting something for the sake of posting and making sure it aligns with, and it doesn't have to be so thoughtful anymore, which is something
That
I
was
struggle
hard
with.
to get Ash. I'm like, Ash, the grid isn't the end all be all.
I know.
You can post things that don't look perfect, you know?
Yeah. You don't have to be so precious with it. People don't want that anymore. It's like the millennial curse, apparently. I read about it. I'm like, this is so me. So we're trying to show more lifestyle, and that's where the reels and the like more lifestyle content come in. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think you either have to hire a great team, which is really hard because they're expensive.
Yeah.
Or you have to have really great innate taste. Not saying you have to be a trained designer, but you have to have a good enough design sensibility where you can balance fonts and choose the right things on Canva and like put them together in a cohesive way. Because it's very obvious when something's a bit amateurish, even if you don't know why you think it is. It's because the type isn't balanced, or the fonts are wrong, or the color's wrong, or there's too much going on. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
Or you just have a twin who's good at everything.
Yeah.
Then you're good to go. But we didn't even call ourselves entrepreneur. We didn't know we were entrepreneurs until like 5 years in.
No, I was filling out a form.
Yeah,
and I was like,
your job position. I'm like, head cake decorator, bakery co-owner. I'm like, I don't know what
I was like, I'm a designer, but I also bake. I don't know. We're like, oh, no, wait, we're entrepreneurs.
Yeah, okay, right.
You're like, bake stuff? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you touched on something interesting in terms of design. Simple is hard.
Simple is the hard, even like in cake design.
Yeah.
Like it's just in all ways, I think.
Like people don't realize how challenging it is to create something simple and
Effective.
effective. I would say that your brand represents that in a is that something that's important to you, is like the simplicity in the design?
Yeah, I think it kind of comes from my own personal design sensibility and aesthetic. My photos, I love like maximalism, but like controlled maximalism. I always just keep layering and layering and layering if I have all day. But I also love a clean image that's a bit clever. Like that's what I love about the books. They're all very like clean and simple.
But you can look at them for a long time and then pick out different like little things.
Yeah, there's always like something going on in there. I don't know. I think that comes down to my personal just design aesthetic. But I do agree. I think simple is really hard. Yeah.
What is the dream?
It's a dream.
Dream.
Okay, I think about this a lot.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Because we're getting older. And my husband has this like dream to retire at like 55. And I'm like, that sounds horrible to me. Like, I want to be working until I'm like, I don't want to stop working because I love it. Like,
Yeah.
even if I wasn't working, I would still be like,
I'll be making
photos
sugar
for
flowers
fun.
with my frail little fingers
Yeah.
until I'm like 90.
But I don't want the stress of owning something, I think. I don't think I want that stress.
No.
I think the dream is to build Jenna Rae Cakes to something that is sustainable without us in whatever way that looks like. But I also think there's a big downside to that. I listen to enough entrepreneur podcasts to know that like
selling at the end of the day isn't all it's cracked up to be for a lot of people, because they lose what they've built their whole lives, and they lose that creative freedom, which gave them so much purpose. So I don't want to lose that side of it either. So I don't know. I think we just want to keep growing something that we're proud of and that's sustainable, and then kind of see where that takes us. But I do think we live in a world now that you can have so many different creative outlets.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll become a photographer. Yeah, my dream for Jenna Rae Cakes has always been to just expand across Canada or the US or whatever, because I think what we've built is so unique and the brand is so beautiful and the treats are amazing, and we've gotten to the point now where it is scalable. We just don't know how to do that. Like, I'm sure you could figure it out, but like, I don't want
to.
I don't want that burden. Like, I'm not risk averse. Like, you can't be, I don't think, if you're an entrepreneur.
No. I've taken plenty of risks, but that would be gigantic. So that's like, I would love, I don't know if franchising is the option, or like someone to buy it and take it and do what they do with it and put it all over. I don't know. I just think there's such an opportunity there, but we're not the ones to do that. So whatever that means in the future, I don't know. But I would love to see Jenna Rae Cakes across the globe.
I would love for it to be a Canadian brand. That would be amazing.
Why is that important to you?
I don't know. I think Canada's special, and I think we're so spread out, and there's
Shipping is a nightmare.
Shipping's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think every city deserves like a great local spot that they can get a beautiful cake for their birthday or stop in for treats. And I think it's really hard to build a business like that. And I think we've kind of not figured it out, because every day's a struggle. But I don't know. I think it'd be really satisfying to kind of be known as like Canada's cake shop.
Well, I think you probably already are in a lot of circles.
But accessible, you know?
That's what's good about the books. Like, people are able to get a taste of Jenna Rae Cakes even if they can't physically come to our shop. So that was fun and a nice part of that. But yeah, to have in every, like, Toronto, Calgary, Vancouver, it was so fun.
Well, if you think about it, Canada doesn't have that brand. The States does. They have Milk Bar, they have Sprinkles, they have Georgetown Cupcakes, they have Cake Boss, which is expanding to Toronto. Canada doesn't have that. There's Crumble. Like, I think Canada can support that, but it's just, it has to be a different thing. I think we are a different thing. So I just don't have that drive and that instinct to build. I know how hard it would be. It's hard enough to run 4 shops and keep that going.
Right.
So I don't have that.
And there's so much about it that we just don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd have to be done in the right way.
This podcast was created by the Quigley Dream Company. At the Quigley Dream Company, we specialize in bringing your vision to life through powerful storytelling and stunning video production. We're your one-stop shop to market your business. Whether you're looking to tell your brand story, capture unforgettable moments, or enhance your digital presence, we're here to help make that happen. So if you've got a dream, visit thequigley.com to get started today.
It's almost like when you start something, you're so naive to how big the mountain is that you just start climbing.
Thank God, though, because like, if you knew what you were getting into,
Yeah.
I don't know.
No clue.
Yeah.
We always describe it as like pushing a boulder up the hill every day. Like, every day.
Yeah,
Right.
it's never easy.
I think a lot of people resonate with that. Someone out of 1, they don't see the hurdles.
No.
And it's funny that you said, like, if I had known what I know now, would I still do it? Like, thank God I was ignorant.
Yes. Thank God.
I think it's a blessing for sure.
Yes, definitely.
And I think it was also a blessing that I wasn't involved in the day-to-day at the beginning, because I am very much like a list person. We have to get like this done and this done and this done, and it has to be done the proper way. And like, did you think about this? And like, what about this? And what about this? And Jenna's just kind of like, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm like, I got the space, put the deposit without having any money or anything. Like, any business plan really figured out. But I don't know. I have blinders. I'm way more impulsive. So
Yeah. And I feel like I would have slowed that down.
Yeah.
So it's good I came on like a couple weeks later. You know? Yeah.
Isn't that like a beautiful partnership, though, in business where, like, You know what I mean? You're like, I'm going to do this. We're going to make cakes. It's going to be great. We're going to be the biggest thing ever. And you're like, okay, how are we going to do that though?
I know. I'm like, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, and you don't think of all the negativity. Like, you think truly everyone's going to love it because you love it.
Oh, I remember
when
our first negative reviews broke my heart. I was so
you truly
depressed.
are just like going in there and being like, everyone's going to love it because we love it.
Yeah, like you're pouring your heart
know.
and soul into something. And I was like, that's disgusting. Like, what? Yeah, I cried a lot that day.
Yeah.
I still don't like reading reviews. It's still not my favorite thing to do, but because it's just so personal to me. But you have to.
The older you get, the more you realize everyone is so different, and everyone's looking for different things out of everything, including their cupcakes. Like,
I remember learning that lesson too with having staff, and as our staff started growing and growing and growing and talking to them and dealing with problems and stuff, and you're just like, wow, some people look at things totally different than you do.
Yes.
And I that, but then you actually see it happening, you're like, okay, like this is a good lesson.
yeah, that's
Like-
that's what we were talking about earlier. Your 30s are like, I love my 30s. And
Yeah.
I think 40s are going to be even better just because you get more comfortable in your own skin and you just kind of realize, I don't know, you start understanding human behavior a little bit more just from like lived experience. I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah. You kind of start seeing it as like a science experiment instead of like a dagger to the heart, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
It's a social
It's getting
experiment.
easier. Definitely. But
Like with time comes confidence in who you are too.
yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
I think so.
Yeah.
You zero in, like, it's funny on the last episode with Ariel, he said in that period of life is like when you start to focus on what matters. At this point in your life, what does matter to you guys?
I think family is like number one for me.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're right in the thick of it, I think, right now with our kids, and it's the best.
I know.
I'm welcoming the other one in a couple weeks, so that's going to be crazy again. But
I know. I think we're in such a beautiful stage of life where all of our parents are healthy and our kids are like, they still cheer when you walk in the door. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry.
I'm pregnant and emotional. Don't talk to me.
I know.
But yeah, it's we're in such a good spot and we're really enjoying it. Like, I'm glad we're not like having to miss out on a bunch of things, and
Yeah.
we're taking the opportunities that come for us, and like we're still able to do all the things we want to do. We're very fortunate where we are right now.
I think the movie Click really left an impression on me because I never want to. Do you remember that one with Adam Sandler? Like,
my God,
You just
fast-forwarding
struck a
through life.
chord with
Oh, did
me.
I?
Okay, I tell people this all the time that is one of the most like emotionally
Profound movies
profound
ever.
films.
Yeah.
Adam Sandler's supposed to be funny.
I know.
Yeah.
That's not funny at all. That movie wrecked
Oh my God, I
me.
haven't watched that in so many years. I would ball my face off.
I've never met someone else that like brought up that film. Continue.
Great film. I just think it is so important, especially like with business, yes, but especially with young kids. You hear so much like, I can't wait till the next stage and the next stage because then I can do this, or like they can talk, or I can do. And I just never felt that sense of urgency to rush to the next thing because time flies. Everyone tells you that, and like you experience, like the older you get, the quicker time goes by. So we're just really trying to enjoy it. I
Yeah,
don't
when you
know.
have a kid, it's like a yardstick, because like you look at them and you see them growing in front of you. So it just makes time like it's insane.
You feel the same. Yeah. And everything around you is changing and growing. So I don't know. It's a really good, I think that's why we're both like, even there's stress day to day for sure. We've always been good at managing stress.
Yeah,
and
we're
like,
very laid back and like
it's not the
stress
end of the world.
Yeah, we're not like super anxiety filled people. Like, luckily, so that's definitely helped us be able to
live in the moment a bit more.
Yeah.
I think we grew up at a good time too, where we knew life without cell phones and without the constant bombardment of social media and all of those expectations. And we also kind of got to witness human behavior on a platform like that from start to where it is now and how it's grown and evolved. And like, I don't know, I think it just gives you good perspective
Yeah,
on
it's
what's
like this-
important.
like that isn't
And what
real
doesn't
life.
matter.
Like, that's not normal human behavior. That's what they say on there. No one would usually say to your face. Like, it's a weird concept where I think kids growing up with it now, they think that that's
That
the
is their
world,
reality.
you know?
yeah.
So we were lucky in that way.
Do you feel like it feels like I mean, it's funny, like there's these themes that keep coming up in these conversations that I'm having with people is like finding balance, being content with like where you are in life. Do you feel like you're content?
Yeah.
I feel
I feel super content. My husband will laugh because he's like, you're always like on to the next thing. Like we just finished like this reno at home and now you want to do like the next thing. And like, you're already looking at the next thing. And that's how I've always been
like that. Yeah.
That doesn't make me unhappy or ungrateful. I still am grateful and enjoy all that I have. But I am that person who's always like, what's next? What's next? But not in a bad way. I don't know. I feel very content. I feel very lucky every day. Yeah.
You're having fun.
I'm having fun.
Yeah, it's not, I think there's a big difference. Like a lot of people, they want the new thing. They want to change this. They want to change that, because they're trying to fill a hole.
Yeah.
You're not trying to fill a hole.
No.
You're just having fun. And like life is your canvas in a way, like whether you're renovating or what you're doing. This has been really fun.
That's been.
Guys, thank you so much for doing this. I think a lot of people are going to get a lot of value from hearing like your authenticity and your transparency too, like your willingness to be vulnerable and share like the hard parts of business too. So like, thank you for doing that. And yeah, I'm just really grateful that we got together and got to do this. So thank you.
Thanks. It was fun. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Quigley Dreamcast. I hope you enjoyed this conversation and found it as inspiring and insightful as I did. If you loved this episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It really helps us reach more dreamers like you. And if something in today's episode resonated with you, feel free to share it with a friend or on your social media platform. Finally, if you're out there chasing your dreams, remember, it's not always easy, but it's always worth it. Keep going, stay inspired, and we will see you next time on the Quigley Dreamcast.